Hi everybody, I'm Sammy and this is VP Wedding Planner Live Hangout Q&A. This week's topic is the Bachelorette weekend, my favorite Vegas versus NOLA. If you're an avid follower, then you may have already heard this topic because I've actually had this discussion before when I covered New York City while in New York City on location. But this time we're bringing it back down south and to our friends over on the West Coast. Most brides are very excited about the Bachelorette weekend because it's a chance to get away from the stressors of planning your wedding, and it's probably your last chance to sit back and relax with your bridal brigade for your last hurrah as a single gal. So, of course, you want it to be the most epic experience of your life, and I think I've narrowed it down to the top 2 Bachelorette hotspots in the nation. And of course, I'm talking about Las Vegas and New Orleans, baby. First off, the biggest question I get, and the most often, about the Bachelorette weekend is who plans and executes all of this? I know. Traditionally, it's your matrimony homies or, your bridal brigade or your gal pals, which is your wedding party or your maid of honor or matron of honor, whoever it is, whoever you've decided on. Those are the people that normally will handle all of the planning. But if you find yourself having to plan your own Bachelorette weekend, no fear. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to share all of the fun stuff there is to getting to planning this awesome weekend, like I said, with you and your matrimony homies and your gal pals. But first, you want to be sure that you talk about your likes and your dislikes. If, in fact, your gals are helping you plan this whole thing. Let them know what you like and what you don't like, and even what you don't feel comfortable doing. Because oftentimes, a lot of brides will sit back and tell the bridal party to plan this on your own. I don't care. I'm going to have fun, whatever you do. Now, that's not always the case. I've actually attended several Bachelorette weekends and have helped coordinate a few. And it's always best to have those conversations ahead of time, because you want to make sure that this is a fun experience for everyone involved, especially you, the bride. So make sure that you talk to your girls and let them know what you would like to do on your special vacation and maybe some things you want to avoid. Some things that I think you should avoid ahead of time is, of course, not planning ahead. So if you are just thinking of doing this last minute and your girls are not big planners, you need to reconsider, because something like this requires a lot of planning, at least 6 months out. Again, 6 months out from the actual event date. You want to give the girls time to either get plane tickets, to make sure that they have room in their schedule. If they're going to be traveling, they at least need to know ahead of time so they can call out and make sure that they have asked, weeks in advance off from work so they can attend. Now, another question we get asked is this an affordable trip? It can be, again, if you plan ahead. So if you're planning out 6 months in advance, oftentimes you're going to get a better deal on your plane ticket. You're going to get a better deal on your hotel stay, especially if you do several blocks of rooms. A lot of people, this is a big trend. We talked about trends last week, but a trend that we're seeing a lot of is the whole Airbnb thing. If you guys would rather stay at a big house together, all put your money in. It's not too expensive. They charge by the night, similar to a hotel, but they have some strict rules most of the time, things that you can and can't have there. So make sure you read all the fine print when you're trying to find a fun place, a fun Airbnb to stay. But again, do everything ahead of time, because chances are it's going to be much more affordable for all of the people involved. If, though, you have bridesmaids that can't make it due to the cost, don't worry about it. They try to be part of their other major components of the whole wedding planning process, and that's perfect enough. That's great. So try not to guilt trip them about not being able to afford it. I've actually been part of a couple of Bachelorette weekends where a few bridesmaids weren't able to really afford the trip. And what happened was they ended up staying behind for some of the other fun events during the entire stay of our weekend, particularly in Las Vegas and in New Orleans. So we don't want that to happen. We want them to feel like they're a part of the group. But if they can't make it because of cost, because weddings are expensive, even for the bridal party, it's not a big deal. They're going to be part of other fun components to your event. And all the the most important ones. So not to fret. But again, it can be affordable. You just really need to make plans ahead of time. Schedule everything out. You need to prepare ahead. Plan things out to a T. Think about what you're going to be seeing. Think about what you would like to do while you're there. Think about the different restaurants there are. And the easiest thing to do, folks, is actually Google it. If you don't know, Google, New Orleans. Google best places to stay in New Orleans, best places to visit. Same thing with Las Vegas. If there's certain things that you're just not too sure of, maybe ask a friend that stayed there beforehand. Also, you can always just check it out yourself. There's always really fun articles that you guys can read up on. And of course, you have me who stayed in both places for Bachelorette weekend. So again, I'm going to share a little bit of our fun stuff that I did while in Vegas. We're going to start with Vegas. Things to see and do in Vegas. Everything. So make sure you have plenty of time to enjoy yourself while you're there. And that means that, you at least have 3 or 4 days of just having fun. So the first day that you're there, normally everybody's just kind of settling in, they're acclimating. Most of the time, you have several people that are going on this trip with you. They're not all flying in from the same location. They might be flying in at a different time because of their schedule, whatever the case is. So just know that day one, either in Vegas or NOLA, you're going to want to make sure that that's just, time for you guys to relax, maybe go sit by the pool. There's all kinds of beautiful hotels to see. So you don't necessarily have to stay at any one of those locations, but you can visit all of their different casinos inside. So you can maybe hang out by one of the casinos, earn some extra play money while you're there, maybe some money for the wedding later on. But you can also go and hang out by one of the pools and just relax. Again, you're there to relax and have fun, have a few cocktails. There's always signature drinks and things. One of the most interesting places I actually went while I was in Vegas was a place called Bear, not like bear, like the animal, a bear, but bear as in bare naked. And it is a pool that's attached to the Mirage. And I thought I would go take a look. And sure enough, it is a nude pool. Saw some really cool stuff, drinks and things. I had a blast. It was a lot of fun. It was something that I would have never done while I was here. And the bride and all of her friends had a blast too. So that might be something fun and different for you guys to do while y'all are there. It's, again, something that you'll probably not see here, but it's in Vegas, and what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So go to Bear if you guys get a chance. They do have some really cool drinks, and it is a beautiful atmosphere. It's a lot of fun. Shows. You have to go see as many shows as you possibly can. See who's headlining. That's where we talked about it being affordable. The shows are going to be what's a little bit more expensive. Now, when I went, I had a really nice hookup. Some of my friends were actually working in these shows. So this is when I had just gotten out of college. My friends were already in grad school, and they were going to grad school in New Orleans, and a lot of them were doing Cirque du Soleil shows. So I got to see some really cool stuff, and it was fairly affordable for me. So if you don't have the hookup, though, you need to prepare that you're going to spend quite a few dollars, especially if you're going to go see headliners like, I don't know, J-Lo. So yeah, she's there right now. You can definitely go and have fun and be there with your friends. I think the shows are probably the best part of being in Las Vegas because they're so intricate. They're absolutely beautiful. One of my favorite ones was actually a show called Love. If you haven't seen it before, you need to definitely go and take a look. Love is based on the Beatles, a soundtrack, their entire life, all the music that they've ever played. It was gorgeous. I wasn't a Beatles fan before. I definitely was after I left there. It was a spectacular show, and the girls and I went. We got dressed up that evening. We had our drinks in hand. We sat, we watched, we cried, we laughed, we loved. It was absolutely beautiful. And of course, they had all kinds of memorabilia afterwards, so you guys can take some of that stuff home and have a nice memory of your weekend there. Another fun thing that I actually didn't get to do while I was there. So this is something that I'm going to do the next trip, which is next year in Vegas. I wanted to go and do the zip line right down the city. Like, it was the neatest thing I've ever seen. The girls got to do it. I couldn't do it. I actually had a meeting and other things that I had going on that week, so I couldn't attend. But I got to see all the cool videos that they took while they were flying high right above the city. It was so spectacular. So that's something else that you guys have to go and take a look at. Right in Reno, I said in Reno, it was beautiful. So definitely have that on your list. And then just a day of sightseeing, because like I said, there are so many beautiful hotels there. You have to go to each and every one to see what they're about. They're all themed differently. They all have something really beautiful to offer. One of my other favorite ones, and I say that you go, I'm not sure if his installations are still there, but some of you that follow me may know that I am a huge Dale Chihuly fan. Dale Chihuly is a glass artist. He has an installation here in Corpus Christi at our beautiful art museums. You have to take a look at it. It's all glass work, and it's so ornate. It's beautiful. It's bold, and they had some beautiful pieces at the Bellagio, and they should still have that beautiful ceiling piece that he has. You look up, and all you see are brightly colored glass pieces, and it looks like they're just hanging right over your head. It's fabulous. You have to go there, take pictures. There's always a beautiful garden installation that they have. So it's definitely worth taking a look at. You have to make plans to attend and make plans to head up to all of those different hotels. They're all within walking distance. It's not bad. That's another thing. Be prepared. Whether you're in Vegas or whether in New Orleans, you're going to be doing some heavy walking, and that's fine. A lot of people will take taxis, or they'll take Lyfts or Uber or whatever, but you miss out on a whole bunch of stuff. So you're going to be doing some walking. You need to have the right shoes. That was something that we didn't think of the very first time we were in Vegas. So be prepared, have some nice comfortable shoes if you're going to do some sightseeing. Go by, take pictures, and immerse yourself in the culture at either location, because that's what it's all about. There's so many different restaurants. Oh, best thing. Again, I'm a foodie. You have to go to the buffets. Make plans to attend one of the most high-end buffets, which you'll probably be paying $99. You might not want to do that, but I did it because I really had to. I had to see what it was all about. So I went to one that was $99. I went to one that was about mid-level range price, and then I went to one of the most inexpensive ones. Honestly, the food was excellent at every single one of them. The higher end was probably not my style, but it was delicious. So try all the different cuisine while you're there. And I know people are thinking, buffets, really? A buffet? I'm not going to go all that way for a buffet. You need to go all that way for a buffet. So delicious. They have the best buffets and the best food there. Some of the best hospitality actually comes from Las Vegas. Again, there's so many hotels. Everyone is in the hospitality industry. They are there to make sure that you guys are happy and having fun. So you definitely need to try out Las Vegas whenever you get the chance. That is a best bachelorette weekend I can think of. There's a beautiful, I stayed at the Mirage the last time I went. They have a beautiful aquarium inside. So there's fish everywhere for you guys to see. They have dolphins now. They have the white tigers from the Siegfried and Roy show. So the white tigers are there. There was white tiger baby cubs, and we could see all of it. I'm an animal person too. So I pretty much went to all the places I really, really liked. And the bride happened to like them as well. But it did, help that I kind of coordinated and planned it. So sometimes you can sneak in a few things that you like to do, and hopefully the bride likes them too. But it was the best trip ever. The girls and I had so much fun. One thing that I think you guys should all avoid is drinking a lot. Do not exceed your limit of alcohol intake. That's not fun. You're not going to remember the next day. You're going to probably have a hangover. You're not going to get to enjoy yourself. But if you do end up drinking one too many, it happens. What I recommend is, if you plan on having a really, really crazy night, is to actually go and visit my friends at the Venetian. There's several kiosks that are inside, and they actually do what they call oxygen, the oxygen bar, and it's a little mask that you wear. It's clean, I promise. It's an oxygen bar, and you go and you sit there and take in some flavored oxygen. Again, how is this going to help me? I promise you it does. As they're giving you the oxygen, they're massaging your head. They have all kinds of little things for your head, and they're doing little electrode massages on your back, and then they give you a shot of eucalyptus. It's a eucalyptus drink. And let me tell you, my friends and I got really carried away one night. We hadn't seen each other in years. This was a bachelorette weekend. We were going to have fun, and we did. We had this drink called the Witch Doctor, a drink you should avoid. It's a witch doctor drink, and it had dry ice, and so there was smoke coming out around it, and it was delicious. We later were told there was about 5 different alcohols in it. So there was about 4 of us that were sharing one drink, another 4, and so on and so forth. And it was not until the second drink that came around, we thought, oh, we're fine. We're good. We went through the first one. We didn't even taste the alcohol. It's probably just, it's nothing. Second one comes around. We finish it. And then I can't find my friends anywhere. They have gone off and they are dancing and they're acting the fool. But let me tell you, they got really, really sick. I myself got really, really sick that evening. We went back to the hotel. We did not look great. We couldn't find our key. It was just a total mess. But Sammy woke up the next morning with no hangover, feeling spectacular. I went down to the pool while my friends recovered that entire day. So I didn't want to waste my day. And I know it was because of the oxygen bar at Venetian and my little eucalyptus shot. So there's a little trick for you ladies. You definitely have to try that out when you go to Vegas. A nice little sight to see, if you will, and it's very beneficial. Again, if you plan on getting a little carried away. But enough of Vegas. It is a lot of fun. I love it. Again, I recommend it. All the showgirls, all of the color, all the pizzazz. It is so much fun when you're there. But I wouldn't be there for more than 5 days because after that, you are exhausted. It's a lot. It's a lot to do. So we're going to move on down south. And I like to go to New Orleans often. And the last trip I went on was with a big group of women and a few guys. We went for a bachelorette weekend for one of our good friends. Now, we went during a time where there was lots of rain and flooding. So we thought that was probably going to ruin our time there. I got strep throat while I was there. Thought that was going to ruin my time. But when you're in New Orleans, it's always a good time. New Orleans was so much fun. And again, like Vegas, you need to immerse yourself in the culture. That means trying out all their different local cuisine. One of the best places to go to if you haven't been is called the Ruby Slipper. Now, I recommend, again, all my recommendations, you plan ahead and you make a reservation and you try to stay on schedule. I know it's very difficult when you have a group of women and men that you're traveling with to kind of keep everybody on the same schedule. It's like herding cats sometimes because everyone's different and everyone wakes up at different times and some people are morning people and some aren't. So bridesmaids, maid of honor, bridesmen, try to be as courteous as possible and remember that you are on a schedule and that you're there for the bride. So a little tip. But go to the Ruby Slipper. They have the best brunch and the best, my absolute favorite Bloody Marys. Love a good Bloody Mary. And theirs are fantastic. They have a strip of bacon in them. Oh, you can't beat it. It's so good. Best thing, hit the spot for early in the morning. We had all kinds of different food. We tried each other's. One thing to remember, one tip is that, yes, we're from the South and we eat, butter for the most part, but New Orleans takes it to a whole different level. They're very decadent over there and their food is so rich. So be sure that you have lots of water or just start kind of preparing your tummy for food like that. And it's not that you're going to get sick, but you're just going to feel full really, really fast. And you need to stay hydrated and have nourishment in your body, especially because New Orleans, like Vegas, tends to be a town where a lot of drinking is involved. So if you catch my drift. So yes, so just prepare your tummy for things like that, but always stay hydrated with your Ruby Slipper, best place to go to. But again, make a reservation. You don't want to end up with sitting outside in the rain with no umbrella. Yeah, that happened. But we had a blast. We then walked to Harrah's. We spent an entire day at Harrah's. If you like gambling, if you don't like gambling, you're going to have fun there. There's some shops inside. There's so many different things to see. Watching people gamble is actually even more of an adrenaline rush than playing yourself. I'm not a big gambler, but I had so much fun. I was playing the penny slots and the quarter slots, and I would be up, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10, and then I would be down a couple cents and then back up. And so, it's fun. It's a roller coaster of emotions, but I enjoyed myself with the girls. Everybody had a blast. And there was, like I said, a lot of different things for everyone to do. So whether you were, playing the table, if you were playing the slots, it didn't matter. We all had fun and we got to see a bunch of crazy people. Then we decided to walk down to Bourbon Street. You've heard of Bourbon Street. Bourbon Street is a lot of fun, especially in the evening time. You're going to run into everyone. There's people from all over the United States, or they're all over the country, and they're just all a bunch of fun and welcoming, and they want to know what you're doing, and especially if you're wearing any Bachelorette apparel, crown, sash, a cute little dress, shirts like the ones that we had made. It's so much fun. I recommend that you do that because girls, you're going to get all kinds of free drinks and maybe some free food and all kinds of other fun stuff. So yeah, that's always fun. Plus, it's a great way to keep an eye on everybody while you're traveling and making your way down Bourbon Street, because sometimes you get separated. But try to stay together at all times. If not, you definitely need to have some fun shirts made, or maybe some fun ball caps, or something that makes you all stand out from the crowd so you guys all stay together. At night, if you guys decide to stay in the evening time, there's always a fun parade going on, I found out, in New Orleans. Whether it's in the early part of the afternoon where it's a little bit more family friendly, or in the evening hour when it's the adult parade, which that was my first experience with. And let's say it's not for it's definitely not for children. So if you're going, which most of the time for Bachelorette weekends, there's really not a lot of kids involved. So it's probably one of the best times for you all to go and have fun, have an open mind. There's just a lot of cool people and neat floats and things, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But it was a treat. I had a blast. We again ate. You have to have some shrimp there and some crawdads and a good old-fashioned shrimp boil. I kind of stay away from the alligator while I'm there, but to each his own. We had friends that were eating it because it's a big delicacy. It's a big part of their culture and their food. So, be adventurous, try it. Don't be a wimp like me. I just couldn't do it. But there's a lot of great things, a lot of good food. We had so much fun. And then there's stuff that we didn't get to do, again, because it was raining, but I've experienced before, is doing a swamp tour. If you have time, you probably need to be there, like in Vegas, for anywhere from 3 to 4 days. Make sure that you do have some time in between to rest. But one of the best things to do is really go on a swamp tour. You're not too active. You're really sitting down for the most part, but you get to see those little gators that you might be eating later. It's fun. It's an adventure, and it's something that you have to see while you're in New Orleans, because it's not what you're going to see anywhere else. So a swamp tour is so much fun. Again, you're immersing yourself in culture. You get to hear all those different fun accents from New Orleans. It's a blast. So you have to try that out when you're there. You can go on a ferry boat tour. I mean, the options are endless. Just again, make sure that you guys schedule everything out. Make sure that you have an itinerary. So, bridesmaids, if you're listening, matron of honor, maid of honor, make sure that you create a little timeline for the girls, whether it's from, the moment that you guys get there to the day that you all depart, whatever time that may be. But let them know that, hey, we're going to have brunch at this time. We're going to be doing this at this time. Maybe they want to go and, take a nap and they have some time in between. So make room for those kinds of things. Brides, if you're planning your own Bachelorette weekend, same thing. Just make sure that you make time for everybody in between to kind of rest, decompress. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. And it's a lot of fun, so it takes a lot of energy out of you. Oh, one of the things that I missed that I missed when I was there, and I haven't gone, I definitely want to go, and I've seen some amazing pictures, is to go to a cemetery tour. I know that sounds really weird and morbid, but a lot of my friends went, and they had a lot of fun. Again, it's part of their culture. They have so many neat things to see on the tours. One of another pair of girlfriends that went out there, they did a fright night where they went to all the different haunted houses and haunted plantations, and they loved it. They thought that was the best part of their trip, and it was something that they liked. Again, teach his own. It's going to be up to the bride on what she wants to do. Some people like to be scared. Some people don't. I wish I could have gone, because I think that's probably just like the best thing to do when you're in New Orleans, and it's something that I haven't done just yet. So yeah, try it out. Look up some fun, different things to do while you're there. Ask the locals. There might be some different restaurants that you wouldn't think to try that are maybe not down the main streets. I can't believe I forgot this one. So I was talking about food. French Quarter. You have to go to the French Quarter while you're in New Orleans. Main reason is Café du Monde. They have the best beignets, not a bidet like my friend kept saying, a beignet. Very, very different. You have to look that up. Beignet, which is basically a donut or a sweetbread. It's covered in powdered sugar. They have coffee there. Again, this is something that you need to schedule ahead of time because it is a staple in New Orleans. So sometimes there is a long, long line to sit down. If you don't want to sit down, you maybe just want to take your beignet and go and drink your coffee and kind of look around the square and take photographs. You can do that. There's like a little fast pass lane, if you will. It's almost like being on a ride in San Antonio at Six Flags, but it's just so you can pick up and go, and it's pretty quick. The line moves pretty quickly, but you do have to do that the day that you leave. I think that's always something fun to come away with, and it's definitely so delicious. So I hope that you guys have fun on your bachelorette weekend, because that's all that it's about. If you all have gone to New Orleans or have gone to Vegas, I know, again, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and same thing for New Orleans. But we'd love to hear about your experience. Post pictures on our VP Wedding Planner Facebook page. Tell us stories, whether they were good or bad, your experience. We want to hear about it. So let us know. Okay, now it's time for your questions. Each week, I encourage our viewers to submit questions about wedding planning woes and challenges. Questions do not have to pertain to this week's topic. And if you can't make our live chat this week, you can submit your questions ahead of time. Now, we have a few questions this week, so let me get right to it. Question number 1, what are some things I should come prepared with when scoping out a venue? This is another question that we get really often, and it's something that I get asked a lot just in my business with Bellicosa Event Planning. And that is, with any vendor that you visit, the main things that they're going to ask you, ladies, is what's the wedding date? Do you have a budget? And how many people? So big thing to do is try to at least figure out what day, what month you are wanting to have your wedding. And I tell everybody this, pick 3 days, because if you're not planning far out in advance, and even if you are planning a year to 2 years out in advance, you might not have your first choice of date. And that means that someone else, got the jump on you, and they're already planning their wedding, and they chose the same exact date as you, and that's okay. So that's always why we have 2 other choices to choose from. So make sure that choice number 2 and number 3 are just as special as choice number 1. So definitely come with at least a month in mind, and a year. You need to let them know, whether it's going to be this year, I hope it's not, or next year. You have time to plan a wedding for December, but you're going to have to hurry. So hopefully it'll be next year, and let them know, again, date, whether you're wanting to do it in the morning, in the evening, that kind of thing. And then budget. Budget is a big thing. A lot of our vendors are going to ask you what your budget is. Now, before you go and visit any of the vendors, what I recommend is that you give them all a call and schedule a meeting with them, schedule a consultation, and they'll tell you ahead of time whether, maybe our budget doesn't really meet with what your needs are. If, maybe, it's just not the right fit because of your budget, they might recommend somebody else too. So instead of going all the way out to a venue and falling in love with it and finding out it's really just not within your budget, again, planning ahead, going and calling everybody ahead of time and letting them know, like, hey, I'm working with this budget, and this is, max, this is minimum, whatever it is, but letting them know ahead of time so you're not wasting your time and you're not wasting that vendor's time. Budget's a big thing. And we can actually help you out with budget. If you look at our VP Wedding Planner page, our website, vpweddingplanner.com, there is a tab there that helps you stay on budget. It's a budget calculator. So if you have a budget that you're working with, you just type that in. And what it does is it generates a nice little budget lineup for you. So it lets you know percentage-wise how much you should be spending in each category. Very, very helpful. A lot of brides don't know how much they should be spending, based on any budget, but how much they should be spending on venue, how much they should be spending on cake, and so on and so forth. So we're here, VP Wedding Planner, to help you out with that kind of stuff. The other thing I mentioned was, so we said date, budget, and how many people. You need to know kind of roughly how many people you're going to be inviting. So try to create a list of individuals, or maybe you just have a max amount of people that you're going to be inviting that day. Whatever it is, let them know ahead of time, because maybe you have 500 guests that you're wanting to invite, but the venue only holds 250. You're going to have to make some major cuts if you want that venue. So those are, again, things that you need to call ahead of time and kind of schedule with them and let them know ahead of time. So hopefully that helps out. Question number 2. Oh, do my bridesmaids throw me a wedding shower and a bachelorette weekend? So they can, and they also don't have to. Traditionally, the wedding shower is usually held by like mother of the bride or mother of the groom, or maybe close relative. Bachelorette weekend is normally for your wedding party. So again, your bridesmaids, I mentioned beforehand, you're either matron of honor or maid of honor. They're typically and traditionally the ones that are going to be coordinating that aspect for you. Now, if you have people that are wanting to do both and can afford to do both, go for it. That's awesome. But I think a lot of people are going to kind of going away with that tradition of who does what. So if there's maybe something that you want done, you can either ask or you can actually coordinate it yourself. It doesn't have to be too expensive. It can still be beautiful and elegant. We always have tips that we can share with you guys. So if you have questions about that, you can always ask me after the show or schedule a consultation. Be happy to help you with all that fun stuff. Question number 3, it's our last question of the evening. My fiance doesn't want any music at my wedding. Oh, how can I entertain my guests? That's a very, very good question. What I've seen recently, and it's happened at 1 or 2 weddings that I've coordinated, is that, they're not big on music. It's either part, of their religion, or it's just not something that they want to do. So what they did was they had a lot of fun games, interactive games for the guests and for the bride and groom. They did a lot of like larger games. One was outdoors. They had fun, outdoor games for everybody. They didn't necessarily have a big band. They didn't have a DJ. They had some soft music playing in the background that people could kind of hear. It was mostly everybody engaging and talking. There was different foods and things for everybody to try. So they were really just excited about the different foods and, communicating and getting together with everybody, because a lot of them hadn't done that in a while. But the games really helped out. So they had a lot of yard games. So if you're doing an outdoor wedding, I would recommend some really fun yard games, whether it's like spray painting big colorful dots, like a big twister puzzle. Like, I don't know if y'all ever remember playing Twister or not, but having your own Twister on the lawn, that was a lot of fun for the guests to play. There was horseshoes. One of my personal favorites, because I'm actually really good at this game, is that life-size Jenga. You don't want to play me because I'm going to beat you. But the life-size Jenga game, they had about 2 or 3 sets of those going on. And then it was a keepsake for the bride and groom, because people were drawing and writing little messages, sweet messages on it. So that was something really fun. And again, engaging for the guests. So if you're not going to have music, if you're not going to have a form of entertainment, maybe consider some light music if you can, some music playing in the background. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Or go ahead and do some really fun games and fun things for your guests to do. So you want them just sitting around, or have something for them to consume, something different. Those different food stations really do help out with situations like that, where you're not using any music or any form of live entertainment, no DJ. You're going to want to have something for them to tickle their senses and get them still going and get them engaged in the wedding, because otherwise people will probably lose interest and leave a little earlier than expected. So hopefully that answered that. That is all for this week. Thank you all so much for joining me. If you, the viewers, have any other questions you need answered, please message me after the hangout on VP Wedding Planner's Facebook page. And again, I'll be happy to answer anything that you guys have. If you like what you see, for more live chats, tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. to hangoutwithsammy.com. That's SAMMIE, Hangout with Sammy. For past hangouts, visit vpweddingplanner.com, our one-stop wedding planner website that provides full access to previous hangouts, like what to pack in your wedding day emergency kit. You'll also find our famous budget calculator and our Taskmaster checklist, plus a complete directory of every wedding vendor you will ever need in South Texas. That's right, wedding vendors right in your own backyard. So VP Wedding Planner really does make planning your wedding a piece of cake. Thanks again, everyone, and I'll see you all next Tuesday at 8. I'll be chatting about using technology for planning your wedding. Bye, everyone.